The following podcast is a proud member of the Blue Collar Roots Network. Find all the shows by visiting bluecollarroots.com. You found the Building HVAC Science Podcast. Here's the host, Bill Spohn.
Welcome to this quick edition of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. Today we're going to take a little divergent break here and talk about an upcoming conference that you all should look at attending. It's called the National Home Performance Conference. You can find info on it at building-performance.org, the 2021 National Home Performance Conference. We'll be talking today with Peter Troast and Steve Byers, two experts in the industry who keep coming back, like myself, to this conference time and time again. And I want to give you a quote to think about here from Benjamin Franklin about learning. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. So I'd encourage you to get involved, to learn more about home performance, which touches on the area of electrification. It touches on combustion. It touches on air quality. It touches on airflow, IAQ, building, health in buildings, so many different topics, 120 different sessions. You sign up for the conference, you get access to them for 6 months. So really take a close look at this, building-performance.org, and listen in as Steve, Peter, and I talk about this conference and what keeps these three older geezers coming back year after year to this conference. Listen in. Welcome back to this special episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. And I'm joined here today by two people I call friends, and hopefully they call me friends. So it's Peter Troast, the Energy Circle, and Steve Byers of Energy Logic. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Great to be here.
Good to have you here. And for those listeners that might not be familiar with what you folks do in the industry, Steve, why don't you kick it off and tell us what your company does? And your company's been a little bit of an acquisition streak lately. So talk about that. What's going on? Some good stuff.
Yeah, so we're Colorado-based. We're an applied building science company doing primarily inspections and consulting in the new construction realm of things. And our footprint for boots on the ground is Front Range, Colorado, up into the mountains a bit. So we've recently made a couple of acquisitions, recent being within the past year. So last year we acquired a company called Sustainably Built. It was right next door to us in Boulder, a really great firm that has an excellent reputation especially in the custom home world in Boulder, which is a meaningful part of the market that we didn't have a good presence in. As with anything, your first time, we learned a lot. Your first acquisition, there's a lot to learn. And then we just recently, earlier this month, completed our second acquisition of a company, Green Building Hawaii. So a little further afield than next door to us in Boulder. Similar situation in that magnificent presence and reputation and brand across all of the Hawaiian Islands. So that went, believe it or not, a lot smoother than the first one did because we learned a couple of things. So that's exciting, and we continue to grow and just as a company and just past the 70 employee threshold. And more interesting in a lot of ways, maybe publicly announced right here for the first time that we've just at the very beginning of this month, also we became a B Corp. So we're really excited about that. It's something we've wanted to do for a long time. It's a very intense process, and it was a pretty big lift. And I'm really proud of all the people, meaning not me primarily, who put so much work into achieving that certification.
Very cool. Peter, give our audience a picture into what Peter Troast is and what he does.
Thanks, Bill. I'm the founder and CEO of Energy Circle, and our mission as a company is to support the people and companies that are doing high-performance contracting work to make their businesses more successful and to help them grow and to help us as an industry grow. And the primary way that we do that is through providing digital marketing services, addressing the challenges that high-performance HVAC, for example, is not necessarily something that most homeowners are searching for. They want it, they just don't know they want it. And so part of our challenge is being that interface between the reality of the homeowner and contractor selling those higher performance, higher ticket kinds of jobs. So we work across country, and we can claim a contractor in every single state that uses one of our tools. And we are just doing the day in and day out lead generation work on behalf of those folks, and really proud to have longstanding clients. And To Steve's point, we are on the path to becoming a B corporation, thanks to a lot of support from Steve and encouragement going along. But he's absolutely right about the complexity of the process, and we're deep in the middle of it at the moment. But something that I've wanted to do for a long time to signify our company commitment to social responsibility and the triple bottom line that we think companies need to be focused on. And that's a 2021 priority for us.
Very good. And for those not familiar, that's a benefit corporation. I call it like ISO 9000 from a manufacturing side, but you say you're going to do something, you commit and you validate that you do these things for the public good. Is that more or less correct?
That's essentially right. Yeah, it's a certification. Well, I should let Steve talk about it since he's one and we're just a wannabe.
Well, no, you guys have got it. And I appreciate you guys actually saying what it is. I guess when you come out of a months-long process of something, you just assume that the entire world is inside your head. But no, you guys have got it. And it's signaling, and you have to recertify every 3 years. So it's not a one and done thing. To be honest, is it going to matter to every single one of our clients? No, but there is a meaningful percentage of them for whom such things do matter, and they recognize what the commitment means to people, planet, profit.
So setting that background, and so the audience, if you're not familiar with these gentlemen, they're astute, they're connected, they're successful. And what we want to talk about today is why do they, including myself, keep on going back to this thing called the Home Performance Conference? You've got it. You guys have got it. You got a rhythm. You got a process going. What do you need to go back to this conference for? Steve, you just laughed because I wanted you to talk first here.
To me, as soon as you say you've got it, boy, you should be worried. That should be a signal to yourself that you better buckle up and start learning again, because I don't know what kind of dead you'd have to be to go to a conference like this and not learn stuff. I mean, you really would have to be comatose. There's so much good stuff. And if you can't find a specific session or even a track that really draws you in, and you're like, either I'm working on that, and here are some friends and experts that I trust and I want to hear their opinions, or you're like, I feel like I need to know more about that thing and I'm interested. Maybe that's a new path for growth for myself or my company.
Peter, yourself.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because this particular conference is morphed over the years. It used to be, when I first got into the industry, it was the ACI conference, and then it became the Home Performance Coalition conference, and now it's the Building Performance Association Home Performance Conference.
It's gotten longer over the years, hasn't it? Is that all?
The name has gotten longer. But fundamentally, everything that was the core philosophy and approach that this conference has had all along has stayed the same. And it is, to me, the highlight of the year. It's the event that I look forward to the most, not just in pre-COVID times when we could all get together with our best friends in the industry and have an awfully good time while we're consuming just an extraordinary amount of incredible information. And this is the coming together of the smartest people in the category across every domain, whether it's from the Department of Energy to people involved in policy to the very best technical people from manufacturers to in my opinion, the contractors around the country that are doing the very, very best measured home performance work. That's just scratching the surface. There is opportunity to go very deep on technical matters, both on the HVAC side, on the building envelope side, on all kinds of building science topics, on healthy home. Indoor air quality and healthy home has been a repetitive and ongoing topic, and you get to hear from the folks at Lawrence Berkeley Labs who are doing the cutting edge research on this. And then, of course, there's a whole business side of the track. And so one of the choices that's difficult to make sometimes at this conference is I'm here to work on improving my business and from an operations and sales and marketing standpoint. And you could spend every session hour in that track, or you could go towards HVAC strategies or indoor air and healthy home. And it's just so many choices. And if there's a silver lining, I think, to the virtual aspect of it in this particular year, it's that it's easier to consume it all because you don't need to, it's not necessarily 100% live. Some of it is live, but it's just a mind-boggling amount of incredible information and incredible people giving it to you.
And what I've found over the years, I think I've been going since 1989, spring of 1989, and really have a lot of good friends there. But what I like is it's a mix between practitioners and geeks. And the practitioners and geeks rub elbows, they get along, and you really see where the rubber meets the road with this thing called home performance, which is now moving into things like beneficial electrification, solar, healthy homes. That's a whole new topic, in indoor air quality. If you're interested in these topics, you can't go away with your mind not being stimulated, to ask more, to connect with someone. And then the other thing is, to a T, every person I meet at this conference likes to talk like you guys, likes to converse. They're friendly, they're knowledgeable, they're humble. They know what they know what they don't know. And everybody kind of gets along. It's a great kumbaya kind of thing. That's going to be the next name for the conference. It's going to be the Kumbaya 2022. I'm going to suggest that to management.
I can guarantee you that when this community has a chance to get back together, there's going to be a whole lot of hugging.
Yeah.
I will say this. The last conference I attended in person was the ResNet conference.
Yep.
And I think I've told both of you guys, you're the last two people I hugged pre-COVID, because it was like a month before, or maybe 15 days before everything hit the fan back in 2020. So
yeah,
it's an elite club.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say, like, there's three, being in the HERS world specifically. Obviously, ResNet's important to us. They just had their conference and it came off really well. And it was one of the great things was that all the content was and remains available to everybody. And there's simply no way to consume it all, as you said, and by being there. And I've got an entire year to go through all this stuff. So that's really important. And let's like throw EBA in there as another similar type of conference for people, just to mention it. But I'm glad you brought up the labs as well, Peter, because it's one of those chances when we get the geeks, but the real true geek. I mean, there's all kinds of geeks right in this world, but I think it's one of those great opportunities when we get to really talk in depth with people who work at the labs and put forth ideas to them for research that we feel needs to be done. And we got this. Now, I just wrote down as we were talking, I think it'd be hard pressed to find somebody in our world who doesn't have to operate in the intersection of research, business, and policy. Those three touch every single one of us. Maybe somebody come up with a case where it's not true, but it really seems true to me.
And then it homes in on practice, because all these things are just ideas until you actually do something, and usually do something to the benefit of people, hence the B Corp idea, which is where we started this conversation. So again, Kumbaya, great big circle of life here. I'm running out of Disney analogies. Really just wanted to convey to the listeners just a quick little snippet from a couple trusted friends that I have who've been around this industry, a lot of different aspects of it, and why you should all consider attending this year, the Home Performance Conference. Virtual conference, there's a fee to it, but like the gentleman mentioned here, there is this evergreen for a period of time aspect to accessing the content.
Yeah, I would challenge anyone to tell me where they can get more value for that fee over the course of a year, having access to that. I'm really excited about the IAQ and ventilation stuff that's going on in a whole variety of ways. And I'd like to make the point here too, like I'm in the new construction world. This tends to be more of a retrofit home performance world, but it doesn't matter. It's all still building science. I'm really interested. We've got a lot going on around electrification. And to that, I'm really interested in seeing Dan Wildenhouse do his amazing work, presentations on cold climate heat pumps, really relevant for a lot of us, obviously in cold climates. And then the resilience track in general, because I feel like that's so important with the climate change dynamics that we have going on. I looked at all the resilience sessions and they were all interesting to me. I'm especially interested in Lai's session. Well, I'm interested in Claudette's session and the live session with Ian Walker, Brennan Less, and Brett Singer. That one looks superb to me.
And it's a good place to debug your ideas. If you think you want to take your business, your practice, your life in a certain direction, you'll probably find someone there who's already done this, or at least is on that road, and you can save yourself an awful lot of time. So the investment of a few $100s, okay, yeah, you're making an investment, but you know what? This is an investment that can pay back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Steve and I share some of the sessions that I'm most excited about. That one with the Lawrence Berkeley Lab guys is about healthy home in the time of COVID and fires, right? And so we, especially Steve in Colorado, knows well what this means. And obviously everyone in California, a huge driver of that. The other thing about this conference is very data-driven. It's become the ethic over the years that don't stand up in front of a room and talk fluff. If you don't have data to back it, you'll get called out on it. So it's very substantive. The same crew from Lawrence Berkeley Labs is going to talk about data from 1,000 deep energy retrofits, which is a pretty incredible and exciting thing. And the other thing I would say is that there's so much changing as a result of COVID, the kinds of things that we've had to adapt to during COVID that are not necessarily going back. Things like virtual audits, which is certainly a controversial topic in many locations, but one that is out there. So Reuven Sussman from ACEEE is talking about virtual audits, and a number of folks. One of my favorite parts, and I get to participate in this as the ringleader, is the incredible openness of contractors to explaining to everybody what it is they're doing to be successful, and literally down to this, sharing their best marketing practices, sharing what they're doing. And I'm privileged to just be the host of a couple of panels where people are going to be talking about what COVID has done to change their business, as well as very specific folks talking about what's working for them in a marketing standpoint. So that's an incredible amount of openness and willingness to share, which you don't really find anywhere else.
Yeah, like I said, just great people. If the conference itself, you can find it on the web link, events.building-performance.org. You should be able to see a banner there for the virtual conference. The live aspect of it takes place April 12th through 16th, but you have the ability to register and get access to over 120 educational sessions, which include continuing education units. So you can get the list of CEUs, ASHE, BPI, Internachi, NARI, and NATE. And I'm not going to explain those acronyms because if you know about them, you might know you need the certification. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of value that can come back to you. There's some social events that go on, some music sessions, other things like that. And then also consider joining as a member of the organization because there's other benefits to that. The sticker price is $450 for non-members, $350 for members, but the membership gets you access to other valuable resources throughout the rest of the year. And the recorded sessions will be available for 6 months. So that's until October 12th, 2021. So you all should take a look at it, the people that are listening in here. So I'm doing a couple sessions, going to have some fun with that, talking about dynamically static pressure, but also talking about my new house project. It's sort of a counterpoint with Corbett and Grace Lunsford, talking about their new home, high performance home, my new home. We had a different set of objectives going into it, but we want to talk about the progress we made and the trials and tribulations, the road that we went down. So you get a lot of personal experience here too, from some smart, friendly people.
Bill, that's going to be a terrific session. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Got to record it here soon. So it's one of the recorded ones that'll last forever out there in the world. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me here. I want to make this a real quick one, get it out there quickly to people so that they can understand why they should be going and why do these three gentlemen, including myself, continue to go back year after year. It's important. I'll just say that it's important. Au revoir, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day here. We'll be talking to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Thanks for having us.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thanks again for listening to this special episode of the Building HVAC Science podcast. If you like what you heard today and not subscribed, please consider doing so by typing Building HVAC Science into the search bar of any of the typical podcast apps. It's our goal here to help create better, more knowledgeable HVAC and building performance technicians. And we think a great place to do that would be attending this conference. So again, we hope you listen into the episode and take a look at the conference. Registration deadline's coming up. We really want to see if we can get more people attending, share this great wealth of knowledge that the industry's put together through all these sessions. Take care, everyone. And we look forward to having you back on the Building HVAC Science podcast to listen in again.